I'm currently 10 weeks postpartum, so let's get ready together and talk about what my experience has been like so far. Before I get started with anything, 2 important things to note that have, I think, heavily impacted my postpartum experience are 1, the fact that I had an emergency C-section, and 2, the fact that my son was born in January and it was a very cold winter. He's also playing on the ground next to me if you hear baby noises throughout the entire video. So I've talked a little bit about my postpartum experience in the vlogs that I've been sharing, and then I did film a video when I think I was about 7 weeks postpartum that I put on TikTok. So a lot of these things might be a little bit repetitive of those things that I've already talked about. I'm gonna start off with some things about my son, and I actually made a list of things that I want to talk about because it's very easy for me to get sidetracked, and sometimes it's very hard for me to articulate the way that I'm feeling or the way that I want to describe some of these things, so bear with me if what I'm saying doesn't make sense. But with my son, the past few weeks have really made a huge difference, I think, with just his overall awareness and personality, and I will probably continue to say that just as he gets older, because with babies, I swear the difference that a couple weeks makes is like the difference that years make for adults. They're constantly just hitting new milestones and growing so fast. So he is 10 weeks old this week. We're in the double digits. So some people say that the newborn phase ends at 8 weeks, and then others say that it goes all the way until 12 weeks. So being at that 10-week mark, I am definitely starting to like very much see that transition out of the newborn phase. Newborn babies are very sleepy, and it can be very hard to like play with them or engage them during their wake windows. And we are at the point now where he is like very playful. He's laughing all the time. He's smiling all the time. He has the nickname Squirmy Wormy because he's just constantly like flailing around on his play mats and everything. One of the hardest things for me throughout this entire postpartum experience is how fast time is going by. And as much as it breaks my heart to be exiting the newborn phase, because I really did enjoy it, seeing your baby's personality start to come through and watch them like turn into their own person is one of the most heartwarming and fulfilling things I have ever experienced in my life. So playtime is definitely one of the areas that we are seeing the biggest changes. And then another topic that I wanted to go over, and I swear this is the first thing that people ask about when you tell them that you have a new baby at home, is sleep. The first question people ask is, how are you sleeping at night? Is the baby sleeping through the night yet? And I am happy to report that this week we got our first full night of sleep, and we definitely have a long ways to go before that is a regular thing for us, but getting that full night of sleep seriously made me feel like a new woman. It's crazy how much you just get used to being so tired all the time when you're a parent, and my husband and I both were very thankful for that full night of sleep. Now, I know a lot of people that I follow on social media that have babies around the same age follow the Moms on Call schedule, and sleep training is something that is very commonly talked about. I am not in any way planning to or trying to sleep train my baby. He is still sleeping in his bassinet next to us at night, and I really would like to keep him in there as long as possible. He is a very good sleeper too. He will sleep pretty much anywhere that we put him, so I know that transitioning him into his crib is going to be a relatively easy process. It's more myself that I'm worried about because I know it's going to make me very emotional. So I am going to enjoy having him in his bassinet for as long as I possibly can. I feel like he's also growing really fast. We are probably gonna have to transition him out of his 0 to 3 and into his 3 to 6 clothes in the next few weeks. And that was definitely something that made me very emotional when we transitioned him out of his newborn clothing. So I know that that's gonna be another hard task for me to accomplish. So I'm not looking forward to that, but we have so much cute clothing that he can wear once he fits into them, so I am excited for that reason. I think that transitioning your baby out of the size that they're wearing is so hard because there's so many memories and milestones that as parents we associate with those outfits. It's so bittersweet when they start to grow out of all their cute little clothes. So I know that I said playtime is one of the areas that we've seen like the most changes, and he's becoming a lot more engaged. We did have a very exciting milestone around, I think it was like week 7. It was pretty early, but he did start to roll from his belly to his back. Pretty much anytime that we do tummy time with him, he just kind of like flails himself back over onto his back. He is also really into kicking right now. So like many parents, we are official owners of the Fisher-Price Kick and Play piano, and my husband and I already have the Purple Monkey song memorized. There are also mirrors on a lot of the play mats that he uses, and he really gets excited to look at the mirrors, and like when we're walking around the house and carrying him, I think he loves just like looking at his reflection and also at our reflections in the mirror, so that's really fun. He does not really use his hands yet, so I know that's going to be one of the next things that we have to look forward to. I try to put toys in his hands or like crinkle books or something, and he's not quite there yet, but I think it is just a matter of time. He was born with very dark blue eyes, and they are starting to change color a little bit, so I'm curious to see what color eyes he ends up with, because I have like brown hazel eyes and my husband has blue eyes, so I'm hoping that they stay blue, but there are little flecks of brown that are starting to come through, so we shall see. I know it can take up to like a year. He also was born with a beautiful head of dark hair, and all of that hair fell out within the first like month to 5 weeks, so he just has a lot of like new growth right now. So his hair is starting to grow back, but I think it's gonna be a while before it's like thick or really even noticeable. So yeah, he's definitely starting to just turn into his own little person, and it is the best thing ever to watch it happen. So that is about it for baby updates. Moving on to some postpartum things. The number one thing, you can ask anybody in my personal life, I've talked about this on social media already, the number one thing that I have struggled with in my postpartum experience is just the passage of time. I get super emotional. I cry all the time about this. Just like looking back at photos and trying to process like how quickly all of this is going by. Like I said, I've really loved the newborn phase, and even though I'm very fortunate to still be on maternity leave and I get to spend every single day with my baby, it's like you're just like watching your life flash before your eyes. That's the best way to describe it, and I'm trying so hard to be present and really enjoy every single moment. I'm also trying to take a ton of pictures and videos so that I can look back on these memories, but it's like I just have this constant state of feeling homesick or nostalgic for the present, and I have never felt these types of feelings or emotions in my life before. This is definitely the first time that I have ever wished I could just slow down. I was always somebody that was always so excited for the next thing. You know, when you're in school, you can't wait to graduate. When you live with your parents, you can't wait to move out. It's like now that my baby is here, I just wish that I could bottle all of this up and freeze time and have this forever. Like, I love where my life is at right now. And I remember toward the end of my pregnancy, I think it's very natural to feel this way, but I was just so nervous about what life was going to look like with a baby, because I loved the life that my husband and I had built over, you know, our years together, and we had such a good like routine and everything. As first-time parents, you have no clue what the next chapter is going to look like until you're in it. And I have to say, becoming a mom is, and I'm not gonna cry in this video. Like I said, I cry enough as it is. Becoming a mom has been the absolute best thing that has ever happened to me. There's like a part of me that wishes I would have done it sooner, just to have more time with my son and get to experience all of these wonderful things. But I'm also so thankful to be the age that I am and at the point in my life that I am while starting this chapter of my life. And I had always heard people talk about that feeling of unconditional love, but I don't think that anything could have fully prepared me for, you know, what that actually feels like. Now, I will not sit here and lie and say that the first few weeks were a breeze. They were extremely hard. I was recovering from an emergency C-section, so with that I had a lot of physical restrictions, you know, couldn't really leave the house. It was also a horrible winter, and it was so cold that I couldn't even go outside and go for walks with my baby, and I definitely experienced the baby blues, which I was not prepared for. So now that spring is here and I've been able to get out on a walk pretty much every day, that has definitely helped me tremendously. I'm also at the point now where leaving the house with the baby doesn't like stress me out or make me worried or nervous. The first few times were definitely very nerve-wracking. Now, obviously, being postpartum, there are a lot of physical changes and things going on with your body. So I would say at this point, I feel like really good. I had a lot of pain from my C-section up until like the 6-week mark. I started to go on very regular walks, probably around week 5 or 6. And that was also around the time that I really started to notice an improvement with the pain in my incision area. And then just in the last like week or two, I have started to do very minimal, very light dumbbell exercises because I am very self-conscious in my body. I I've come a long way and I'm very happy with how I look right now, but I know it could be better. Something that women get very fixated on is their weight when they're postpartum, and they're so worried about getting back down to their pre-pregnancy weight. And I'm here to report that your pre-pregnancy weight does not equal your pre-pregnancy body. At this point, I actually weigh a little bit less than I did when I got pregnant, but I'm like 3 pant sizes bigger. So one of the other things that I have talked about on social media a little bit is the fact that I got some pretty bad stretch marks while I was pregnant. And I would say that is the biggest physical thing that I'm self-conscious about right now, mostly because all of the stretch marks are on my thighs and my hips. And I think that if they were on my belly, I would have an easier time with them, just because when you're pregnant, you expect changes on your belly, like your skin is stretching and everything. Having them on my thighs and my legs and everything just was not something I even knew could happen. So I've been applying a lot of bio oil and hyaluronic acid. So I have started to notice a little bit of improvement, but I'm hoping that just over time, as I maybe lose a little bit more weight, continue to keep my skin hydrated, and also just with them naturally fading over time, I'm hoping that they can go away or lighten quite a bit. But that is definitely something I'm very self-conscious about, especially going into summer. So on a positive note, in terms of physical changes, I do think that my hair is getting thicker, and I think it's because I've just been taking the prenatal for so long that I'm starting to see the benefits from it. So hopefully that is not something that is affected by postpartum hair loss. I know that that tends to happen a few months after having your baby, so I might not quite be in the clear yet. We are also still exclusively breastfeeding, and that has been something that I did not expect myself to enjoy as much as I have. It's definitely so hard at first. I remember like week 1 or week 2, there was a night where I was just like sitting on our bed crying to my husband about how breastfeeding was not what I expected it to be. And I think I went into it expecting the whole experience just to come very naturally, but there's actually a huge learning curve for both you and your baby. So it does take some time. I definitely had an oversupply in the beginning, but I was also, I think, stimulating that oversupply. I am so happy that I did not give up when it was hard in the beginning, because I think it has just been one of the best ways for me and my baby to bond. And I think it's so much easier. We really don't have a ton of like bottles and stuff that we have to wash. So from that perspective, it definitely makes things a little bit more convenient. Another physical change that I thought would have probably gone away by now is that dark line that a lot of pregnant women get that runs down their belly. I very much still have that. My belly button is also like very dark. I had so much bruising in my belly button, and also just like generally I noticed that my whole belly area, the skin color is like a little bit more yellow. So I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. Obviously this is all very surface level. I obviously could elaborate way more on pretty much all of these topics. I just kept it pretty surface level so that the video is not like 3 hours long. I also think that 2 videos I would want to film are, one on just my entire pregnancy experience, because I really did have an incredible pregnancy. I loved being pregnant, and I honestly miss being pregnant. And then I would probably do a separate video just about the entire birth experience. I am somebody that went into labor wanting my birth to go one way, and it went in a totally opposite direction. And I think it's good for expecting moms to just kind of hear different ways that things could pan out. I also want to film those videos pretty soon while the memories are still pretty fresh, because it's crazy how fast you start to forget. So let me know if you guys would be interested in videos on both of those, or if there are any other videos that you would want me to film. I'm probably just going to keep doing a lot of like the daily vlogs, because it's been really fun to just document what my life has looked like. And it's crazy how big of a difference just a couple weeks makes. So I know that I will be very thankful to have all of these memories recorded. So thank you for watching, especially if you are expecting soon or you're also a new mom. Let me know how your journey is going so far. Good luck to everyone if you're expecting soon, or if you're not and you watched this whole video through. Thank you for sticking around and hearing what I had to say. I hope you guys have a good day, and I will talk to you soon.